There we go. I shouldn't be muted now. Hey! Hi. I was saying that I was stupid because I forgot my oven mitt. But hey, we're here now. We made it. We made it. We good. We here. We in it. We in it to win it. Whew. Should be able to hear me now. With any luck. Fingers crossed, I guess. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh, now you can hear me. Okay, good. Okay, good. Huzzah! Hooray! Hooray! I was reading something on Reddit, and somebody had said, my uncle is explaining to me, a final year genetic engineering student, that preferring a boy child is not sexist because boys carry the most important genetic components of the female line, and a girl's genetic code changes when she's married off to another family. I am in awe. I can't with stuff like this. I don't the special crazy uncle. Okay, so I saw this a couple of days ago. It's now the 13th, I think, of May. Yeah, I don't remember when this actually came across my timeline, but they had posted it on the 8th, so last Saturday. And, I've kind of been... So I originally saw this on, like, this, the female dating strategy, like, subreddit, and I only would see them when they hit the front page, so it was usually something that was, like, relatively mundane, or at least kind of funny. And so it's like, oh, that's just kind of funny. Or it's something that's, like, about safety. Like, if some ridiculous situation where some dude was stalking some girl and it was just like, hey, look out for this, don't get picked up by a man you don't know, and make suggestions of a different place to go if somebody wants to go to a cafe with you, because sometimes people freak out about stuff like that. It's just things like that. I haven't looked too much at the I don't know, I guess community, the I don't want to even call it that. I didn't spend too much time in any of the comment sections, I should say, or the subreddit specifically. I would only just see it go by once in a while, and so I happened to notice that they were on Twitter, so I followed their Twitter like a couple of months ago, and just to see what they were talking about, and this came across my timeline, and it's kind of blown up over the past week. I kind of wanted to see where it would go. They've seemed very invested in defending this, or extrapolating on it, or talking about it more, I guess. I don't know, but I figure we could take a look at it and maybe conversate a little bit, and, you know, have a little chit chat. What do we agree with? What do we not agree with? They definitely start off strong, so let's dig into this and see what they've got to say. How sex workers can support civilian women. Okay, right off the gate, civilian women? Are sex workers like frontline army people? What do you mean? Are they not civilians? I don't understand the separation they're making here. I'm gonna have questions just straight up the gate. I don't know if maybe that's just me, or maybe I'm being too picky about what it is that they're saying or what they're trying to say, but I don't know why you would say sex workers aren't civilian women. They're just regular women like everybody else, so I don't know why you would... I don't know. Agenda? I don't know. It might be part of the point. I'm not sure. Helios for 5. Why do people think that DNA is something like pants that can be altered on a whim? Every whack job theory starts with X will change your DNA. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that. I think maybe people just don't understand what DNA is or how it works, so it's an easy thing to be like, like technical jargon in Star Trek, stuff like that. It's easy to talk over people's heads about a subject they have no understanding of. All right, So let's see. How can sex workers support civilian women? 1. Stop making content that sexualizes rape, pedophilia, incest, misogyny, or racism. This is normalizing and reinforcing harmful stereotypes which contribute to civilian women's abuse. They're gonna stick with this civilian thing, aren't they? That's a big oof. I don't like that. I do not like the dichotomy. They're kind of this line that I don't like how they're drawing this line, I should say. So stop making content that sexualizes rape, pedophilia. You are fucking coming out strong, holy shit. So with number 1, I would have to ask, what content does this? What are you referring to? I assume you're just referring to porn. I'm assuming you're referring to porn that has women who look younger, pretending to be a teenager, like schoolgirl thing. For incest is like, oh yeah, stepmom and a stepdaughter, or a brother and sister, or whatever. It's like misogyny is like what? Misogyny is so broad of a term. I have no idea what they're what would they consider misogyny, because it could be anything. So is doggy style misogynistic? What do you, I don't know what you mean? And racism? What? I need to know what content they're talking about. Porn is such like a broad brush. It's such a broad thing that there's, if it exists, there's porn of it. If it exists, there's porn of it of some kind. It's one of the rules of the internet. So what are you talking about? Stop making content that sexualizes rape. Listen, rape, this is the thing. Porn is fantasy. It's not real. If it's real, it's illegal, and it's a crime, and it's a problem. Having fantasy that idealizes something is not a problem as long as people understand that this is not encouraging that. This isn't saying this is okay, this is just a fantasy about this thing that isn't okay, and nobody's getting harmed. As long as nobody's getting harmed, I don't know what to tell you. So I would have to, this is too vague. This is just a vague, broad statement of bad. 2. Insist that your regular clients disclose to any women in their life that they use your services. The culture of silence from sex workers is unfair to other women, as they are being robbed of their choice to not participate in a non-monogamous relationship. Asking that would change nothing. If you got somebody who's cheating and wants to cheat, they're just gonna lie. This is meaningless. This is your husband cheating on you is not it is not a sex worker's responsibility. If you're the one who made the commitment, you're the one at fault. No matter who else is involved, if nobody else made the commitment, nobody else is responsible, even if they know about it. Is it nice for them to do so and let somebody else know, or refuse to do so? Maybe it would be nice, but they're not required to. They're not the ones Look, I took my glasses off already. I'm only on number 2. God. It's nobody else's responsibility in a commitment except for those who made the commitment. Did the sex worker make a commitment? No? Then it's not their responsibility. Sorry. Is it not fair? Yeah, you cheating sucks. Of course it's not fair that you're involved in something that you had no consent and you didn't want to be involved in. But that's not the sex worker's fault. It's probably not your fault. It's only the person who's breaking the rules. So no, don't put this on sex workers. Straight up, that's just not their responsibility. What are they gonna do? Fucking big-ass background checks on everybody? No, that's not gonna happen. No. That's just a big nope from me. Stop lobbying against legal protections for women who were involuntarily coerced into participating in sex work because you may personally lose money. Please support and prioritize the safety of women and children first over the expansion of the industry. Lobbying against legal protections, such as what? I don't know what they're referring to here. Legalizing porn isn't a bad thing, nor does it take away from people being forced. If anything, changing that would add safeties in for people who are getting sex trafficked. I don't know what they're number 3. I legitimately just don't know what they're asking about. I don't know what they're talking. I don't know who is lobbying. You think there are individual sex workers that have the power to lobby? I don't know what they're referring to in this. So this one, I'm fine to just kind of be like, I mean, yeah, don't have unsafe work practices. Letty says prostitution, probably what, legalizing prostitution? Legalizing prostitution would do the opposite of what they're saying here, though. Legalizing prostitution isn't them losing money, nor would it would make things more safe, because then you wouldn't be doing things in like back alleys. I'll leave number 3, because I have no idea what they're talking about. Maybe I'm just ignorant to what it is they're talking about. Number 4, please respect the anonymity of women who speak out against the sex industry, but don't want their identity to be publicly disclosed. Before I continue with this one, did you not just say you wanted any of their clients to disclose any information to them so that way they could tattletale or refuse? Side note, if you say, let's say for a second, I'm a sex worker and somebody comes to me saying they want sex, and I say, okay, I need to know if you're married, and they say, yeah, I'm married, and I say, okay, well, I can't date you if you're in a monogamous relationship, and they say, oh no, I got my wife's permission, and what's he gonna do? Hand me a note that's signed? Like, what? How would you even enforce something like that? Like, that's just absurd. Please respect the anonymity of women who speak out against the sex industry but don't want their identities to be publicly disclosed. I mean, sure, I don't see why that would be a problem. I don't know who's not doing that. Don't put them in danger by attempting to dox or silence them or smear their reputation as being part of a conspiracy group. I mean, yeah, don't dox people. I agree with that. Silence them in what way? I'm not sure. Smearing reputations, yeah, address the issues, unless they're actually part of a conspiracy group, in which case I think people ought to know if somebody who's spewing some stuff is part of a conspiracy group. So, you know, that whether or not they're part of some group, if the group exists, again, like I said, if the group exists, then yeah, that might be pertinent information for people to be aware of, that they're part of a group that has this agenda and is pushing this agenda. But yeah, don't dox people. There's no reason for that. 5. If you want to talk about your profession publicly, please fully disclose the hazards of the job, as well as acknowledging when your privilege affords you atypical opportunities. Help civilian women... The fuck is that? There's gonna be a puppy upstairs soon, and I'm super excited. So you guys, during streams, you're just gonna hear like a little puppy going out the way up the stairs. I'm so excited. All right. Let's where was I? Number 5. If you want to talk about your profession publicly, please fully disclose the hazards of the job as well as acknowledging when your privilege affords you atypical opportunities. Help civilian women considering sex work make a fully informed choice. That's not on an individual sex worker. That's on, if you want to get involved in sex work, it's on you to do the research. If somebody comes to you and asks you, hey, I'm looking at getting into this, can you give me some advice? They get to choose whether or not they give that advice, and then you get to choose whether or not you listen to their advice. Their advice is not, you don't, that's, are civilian women stupid? Like, are civilian women, like, children? Can they not think and understand and research for themselves? Because this is what it sounds like to me. I don't... It's not... This is putting a lot of work on to people that it has nothing to do with. If you want to talk about your profession publicly, please disclose the hazards of your job as well as acknowledging when your privilege affords you atypical opportunities. What the fuck does that mean? There's a difference between somebody doing an interview and wanting to know the hazards of a workplace, and like this is entirely dependent on the situation. What, are they every single time supposed to come up with a pros and cons list, and they have to be equal? Not everybody in the sex industry is going to experience the same thing. Not everybody in the sex industry has the same hazards that they may or may not have to look out for. If you want to get into an industry, educate yourself on that industry. It doesn't matter what it is. It's not, if I want to go be a construction worker, it would be nice when I apply for them to say, hey, you gotta wear a hard hat, hey, you gotta wear this, hey, you gotta do that. Yeah. But if I'm going into an industry by myself and say I buy a bookstore and I haven't spoken, I'm not going to work for a bookstore, I'm going to own a bookstore and run it myself, then it's on me to do all the research to know what I need to know and how to make my bookstore successful and avoid any pitfalls or hazards. Sex industry is the same way. If you decide you wanted to go work on a porn site and you wanted to like on site, I mean, like you're filming, there's a big difference between like OnlyFans and filming and prostitution and like working in a strip club. These are all very different things. So do your research. Were you gonna wander into your local strip club and be like, with a notepad and be like, hey, listen, I need you to explain everything about your job to me in very vivid detail and all of your experiences? Like, this is a little bit civilian women. What the fuck? Finally, remember that supporting women is a two-way street. The expansion of the sex industry harms many more women than it helps. I don't need the statistics on that. So those of you who manage to build a successful platform, be sure to center marginalized women in conversations with your clients. Why? No, what? Hey, listen, I know we're having sex right now, but I need to tell you about the statistics of the pink tax. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Be sure to center marginalized women in conversations with your clients. That makes no sense. You wouldn't have a successful platform if you did that. That's not what the platform is about. The platform is about sex. I want the person who runs this account to come on and explain this to me. I would be so happy to sit down and actually have this conversation with whoever it is that runs this Twitter thread and be like, okay, listen, I'm gonna need some of these things explained. So, actually, Helios makes a good point. I'm so confused about what kind of privilege people are being afforded. Are they talking about how attractive women seem to be better in sex work? I don't know. Listen, while you're banging with your client, I need you to have a conversation about overweight women and how they should be appreciated more. I don't know. I have no idea who operates this account. I want to see what some of the comments are, because I feel like this blows up into absurdity. So let's take a look. We could also have all sex workers wear large scarlet A on their clothes and have someone follow them around beating a drum so the village elders can ensure decent, God-fearing women folk never have to share the same air with those Livianist strumpets. How about starting with just not making pedo, rape, incest, or misogynistic content, or is that your entire business model? Who is this woman? Because that was funny. Oh, yo? Somebody who knows what they're talking about? They're followed by Neil Gaiman. Oh no, maybe we can get this woman on to talk, because that's funny. Is that your entire business? Your tone is aggressive and nasty off the bat. Do you actually want an explanation from sex workers, or do you not want open conversation? Sure, I think the conversation is warranted, but the sex worker community is so far is wholly unwilling to discuss or be responsible for their content, assuming they're not being forced and are in fact making careers off this kind of horrific sexualization willingly. Oh no. Wriggles World says, my partner is a sex worker. This is horrendously stupid and makes me mad. Yeah, I don't doubt it. Golden Unicorn for 10 says, why is the decision of people to avail sex services of sex workers to cheat on their spouse's responsibility of the sex workers? I would complain if there was false advertising, but this question mark? Yeah, that's no good. As I said, if a woman disagrees, it becomes instantly a rape apologist. Oh, well, you know, I've already been down that road. Here's the thing. If you want to go ahead and make... If you want to go ahead and make these kinds of statements, you're not starting out a conversation, you're making demands for one. If you want to have a conversation, that's fine, but you're going to have to actually demonstrate tell us what you're talking about, because, like, what content does this? I don't know any content that does this, so I'm gonna have to have that explained to me. I'm just a stupid civilian woman. Please explain to me how this is the case. That's so great. Golden Unicorn for Sue said, I love that lore Twitter handle. Yeah. Conversation is warranted. Yeah, assuming, like, this is already, like, buddy boo. Sex community is a very healthy community with problems just like any other. But our work is taboo and looked down on by society. It is unfairly connected with sex trafficking. Fair. Among many other things, it is not. I am happy to talk about it, but if you want answers, you need to change your tone of disgust and use less assuming phrases. We are here to answer, but your presentation and general stance towards me is off-putting from the start. Something to think about. The disgust is from their refusal to engage the actual argument and instead rely on old tropes that we're just somehow hate women's sexuality if we propose an ethics system in voluntary sex work. You sounds like you already made up your mind. Why pretend you're interested in discussion? Yeah, this to me reeks of, I'm gonna make demands, and then when people tell me I'm wrong, I'm gonna say that nobody said any, in this thread that we just looked at, nobody said anything about them just hating women's sexuality. This whole thread, some men do bad things. Don't hold the men doing bad things accountable. Just blame women in sex work and porn. Call it women supporting women when you just want to scapegoat sex workers for man's bad behavior. Have you considered practicing what you preach? We have literally never taken our foot off of men's necks on their behavior, sis. Check our credentials. But we get called sex negative and accused of othering sex workers if we're not okay with men's participation in the sex industry. You call sex workers, and then civilian women. Like, you do understand that there are men in sex work also, not just women, correct? I don't think this is what you're asking for is evenly being applied across the board, let alone that it ought to be applied across the board. I don't know. I would love to see that content this lady is talking about made by the sex workers. Methinks it's a lame attempt to blame sex workers for misogyny and patriarchy in our society. It sounds like it. What's men's participation in the sex industry? I'm a man, never paid to have my nails done, never bought a fashion magazine with pages of models selling sex, never been to Chippendales or any strip club with male dancers, never paid for a dance escort host on a cruise. Although I confessed I've bought a lot of sex toys for a lot of women. Are the people that make the market and sell vibrators, dildos, and material aids part of the sex industry? Because who do you think is buying? Also, which erotic fiction author is your fave? Is Fabio on the cover? Question mark. P.S. Many of those starring in soap operas or trashy daytime TV don't get paid squat as acting gigs go. But who do you think the main audience is? Irony to all the male leads are gorgeous and rich. Hey, same as Sex and the City and Desperate Housewives. Did you really just do a thread about how marginalized women need to be more supportive of women in general and use some horrid stereotypes to back that? Actually, that's a good point. Sex workers are marginalized. So if they're saying that sex workers need to support marginalized women, sex workers are the marginalized women in this situation. Are they all marginalized? Okay, listen, hold up. You can't switch to that. You can't say, hey, sex workers in general, and then when somebody says sex workers are marginalized, they say, are all of them? Yes. Some of them succeed, and some of them are more in the spotlight than others, and some of them are able to get sort of past that in some respects, not all respects, but you can't make broad painting statements, and then when somebody says, what about this? And then go, oh, well, maybe individuals. Seems like the porn industry is pretty mainstream at this point. Is it on Netflix? I feel like if it's not on Netflix, it's probably not mainstream. Oh no! Seems like a porn actress has a good chance at being heard by the media than a grocery store clerk. What? Yeah, are they all marginalized? Yes, they are, and people like you with these toxic threads trying to police them or blame them for the actions of their customers add to that. You know this, though. You can stop with the sea lion routine. It never works when you have an entire comment section calling you out. Yeah, they're getting roasted. Wait, restricting all women regardless of circumstances on what types of fictional content they may produce? That doesn't sound very liberating. What? I mean, that's a good point. If it's just like, hey, listen, you're not allowed to fantasize, you're not allowed to have a rape fantasy. Well, there goes like, some like 7 out of 10 women or something like that. It's like, listen, there's like, you can't just, not just men watch porn. I don't know where you're getting where they seem to be getting this idea like men are the only one watching like rape porn. Women are watching that too. It's not just men. What are you on about? Aren't sex workers responsible for the content they produce like everybody else? If they produce racist, misogynist, or rape porn, why should anyone support them? If they didn't produce this content, would sex work cease to exist? So don't buy what they're selling then? Like with literally any other product? Pornhub is definitely mainstream. It's just hush-hush for most people because sex is still frowned upon in most public forms for some good reasons and some perplexing ones. I mean, yeah, to a degree. I don't know what this person means when they say mainstream. I as long as something is hush-hush, I wouldn't consider it mainstream. It might be very accessible. It might be very, most people might know about it, but it's not, I don't think I would consider something mainstream until, like, it doesn't have to be or people aren't hush-hush about it. You know what I mean? We don't, but liberal feminists have apparently decided that not literally supporting rape, abuse, and incest is sex negative. Source. I'm gonna need a source for that one. You're being reductive and shitty. I wish. Article after article of media criticism of female dating strategy refuses to honestly engage our criticism of porn and BDSM, and that is deliberate. Tell you what. We have Non Sequitur coming back soon. Why don't we get one of these people on? Why don't we get somebody, like a representative, they can decide who it is, a representative from Female Dating Strategy to come on and we can have a conversation about it. How about that? We'll get, maybe we can talk to Brittany Simon. We'll get Brittany Simon to chat with somebody from the Female Dating Strategy. What do you guys think? I think that would be great. I think that would be fantastic. Brittany, please send me some love. Why should we respect anyone that consumes, promotes, or makes racist, misogynistic, or rape porn? Please tell me. I'm curious. Oh, an account that was just made that's following one thing with 0 followers, and they're only following the Female Dating Strategy. Huh, I wonder how that happened. Oh no! Oh no, they're making alt accounts to support their point. Oh no! Oh, blaming women for men's shitty behavior isn't feminism, sweetie. Take yourself to therapy and sort out your intense misogyny. Men made all of them make rape, racist and incest porn, ? Are these women being empowered by this industry and therefore choosing it? Are they not choosing it and therefore being exploited? What? You could choose to do something and still be exploited in the thing that you've chosen to do. You can have both. It doesn't have to be a one way or the other street. You know what I mean? You're conflating so many things here, but the main thing I want you to realize is that 0 credible evidence linking watching any kind of porn to sexual abuse for the average viewer. Just like true crime docs don't turn people into murderers. It's fictional. False. Porn is most definitely normalizing sex violence to the point where it's affecting civilian. Stop. Okay, listen. I'm gonna need the Female Dating Strategy to do me a favor. Please stop calling and separating groups of women civilian women. It's cringy and ridiculous. You gotta, just don't. Please stop. Please, for the love of God, you sound like incels. The females. The femoids. The fmoids. That's what you sound like. Don't do it. Don't. It's a trap. Please stop calling them civilian women. Fuck's sakes. Oh no. I'm curious to look at this. Let's see what their article says. They linked an article. The Atlantic, 2019. The startling rise of choking during sex. A quarter of women in the U.S. report feeling scared during sex. June 24th, 2019. There are a lot of emotions commonly associated with sex, love, happiness, excitement, maybe even relaxation, but for many women, one sexual feeling that comes to mind is a darker one. Fear. In a recent study, Debbie Hebernick, a professor and sex researcher at the Indiana University School of Public Health, found that nearly a quarter of adult women in the United States have felt scared during sex. Okay. Among 347 respondents, 23 described feeling scared because their partner had tried to choke them unexpectedly. Okay, so this isn't a problem with the sex industry, this is a problem with consent. That's a different issue. For For example, a 44-year-old woman wrote in that her partner had, quote, put his hands on my throat to where I almost couldn't breathe. Okay. Sex can involve consensual choking, but that's not what's going on here, as Hebernick explained to an audience during a panel at Aspen Ideas Health, which is co-hosted by the Aspen Institute and The Atlantic. Instead, quote, this was clearly choking that no one had talked about it and it got sprung on somebody. Okay. She said, many sexual assault cases among students at her university now center around non-consensual choking. According to her research, 30% of sexually active girls aged 14 to 17 have already been choked. Okay. The reason such young kids know about such a violent sexual act is likely porn, says Dan Savage, a sex columnist and host of the Savage Lovecast, who was also on the panel. And that's not the only disturbing change that might be attributable to porn, added Katie Julian, the senior editor at The Atlantic and author of a recent magazine cover story on sexual behavior among young women. For her story, she talked with many women who said that their male partners seemed to be taking cue from what they had seen in porn, pounding away or penetrating then anally when they weren't ready. Okay, this is an issue with consent, not an issue with the porn. Also, neither of these people have, there's no statistics. This is just speculation. Let's see what, I want to see if this magazine cover story actually has anything to do, like, has any kind of polyamory as a household word, shame-laden terms like perversion, whatever. Grindr, Tinder, blah, blah, BDSM, blah, 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 birth control for free, blah, 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 from 19 blah, 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 sentences, blah, 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 blah. Something high school students have experienced is something most haven't, blah, 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 blah. Meanwhile, the U.S. teen pregnancy, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Today's young adults are on track to have fewer sex partners, okay? Blah, 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 blah. Gen Xers, baby boomers, blah, 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 blah. None of this says anything. Oh, wait, no, hold on. It keeps going. Blah, 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 blah. None of the experts I interviewed in this piece seriously challenged the idea that the average adult in 2018 is having less sex than his or her counterparts decade past, nor did anyone doubt that this reality is out of step with public perception. Most of us still think that other people are having a lot more sex than they actually are. Okay? I called the anthropologist, blah, 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 more than 5,000, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about the number of people decide to have sex with. First observers, marriage explained, blah, cohabitation, about 60%. None of this has said anything. I have not seen the word porn in here yet. Sex life, whatever. Over the course of many conversations with sex researchers, psychologists, economists, sociologists, therapists, and sex educators and young adults, I heard many other theories as to what I have come to think is it as the sex recession. So they talked about sex recession they linked to a sex recession thing. What the fuck? Why did they link to this? Rates of childhood sexual abuse have decreased in recent decades, and abuse can lead to both precocious and promiscuous sexual behavior. Oh, good, there's less abuse. Let's blame porn. What the fuck? Feel less pressured, prioritizing schoolwork, extra deliberate. None of this has anything to do. Hold on. Porn. If something, okay, hookups everything. So it's right at the beginning. Yeah, porn is used, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I get that. Digital porn. Okay, one of the course of many conversations, sex work, psychologists, plastic surgery, digital porn, vibrators, golden age, dating apps, blah, 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 name and modern, blah. So yeah, this is just a list of shit. Japan is among the world's top producers and consumers of porn, and the originator of the whole new porn genre, such as bukkake, don't ask. Wink, wink. Japan's sex industry, sex dolls, yeah. Masturbating is more often. Easy access to porn is part of the story, of course. 43% of men said that they watched porn in the past week. The vibrators figures too. The major study 10 years ago found that just over half of adult women had used one. By all indications, is only grown in popularity. Okay, I don't see why this is a bad thing. Today, masturbation is even more common, and fears about its effects now paired with concerns about digital porn's ubiquity, blah, 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 blah. Second anti-porn activist, okay, whatever, yeah, porn addiction can be a problem, correct. New drug being porn, okay. Not wanting to pursue relationships, okay. Porn is addictive. Review of porn research. Problematic pornography remains both academic and popular literature. Well, maintain a healthy community, blah, blah, blah. There isn't to say there's no correlation between porn use and the desire for real life sex. Okay. Here we go. He works a lot with men who, inspired by porn, quote, are still masturbating like they're 17 to the detriment of their sex life. It's taking the edge off of their desire, he said. Okay, that's still not a problem. This article is not saying what the female dating strategy is saying it's saying. Predictably enough, porn, less expected perhaps, was the extent to which many people saw their porn life and their sex life as entirely separate things. Okay? Wall between the two is not absolute. Many straight women told me that they learned about sex from porn, seem to have given some men dismaying sexual habits. We'll get to that part later, but by and large, the two things, partner sex and solidarity porn viewing, existed on separate planes. My porn taste and my partner's taste are quite different. Okay? Comments on Pornhub, blah, 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 blah. In other words, the leading search category for porn involves sex that half the population doesn't have the equipment to engage in. Probably. Many young people I talk with see porn as one more digital activity. She also told me about new data suggesting, compared with previous generations, young people today are more likely to engage in sexual behaviors prevalent in porn, like ones that she warns her students against bringing on a partner. All of this might be scaring some people off, she thought, and contributing to this sex decline. So there you go. That's what this actually says. This doesn't say that this article that they linked from this woman doesn't say that porn is the problem. It's consent being the problem. It's having conversations about it and being mature about sex, not porn has this. If you're a one woman, she added, glancing down at her daughter, and you're having sex and somebody tries to choke you, I just don't know if you want to go back for more right away. That's entirely up to the person. That's entirely up to the individual. If you just suddenly get something sprung on you, yeah, probably not cool. Does that mean you're not necessarily, even if it's something you're into? So let's say you like being choked, and you know you like being choked, but you haven't said that, or hair pulling. Hair pulling is one. Do not pull somebody's hair without talking to them about it first. This is like basic bitch level shit. But this isn't a problem with porn. This isn't a problem with sex workers. This is a problem with people communicating in sex education. Feeling scared during sex findings, blah, 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 probability sample of ages 14 to 60. Oh, I can't see the full article. That's too bad. Okay. Well, we did some digging in their article. This is anecdotal. If it actually happening, no evidence links porn to it. Reality, as free internet porn becomes ubiquitous, overall violent crime in America has been declining, plus porn use is associated with more egalitarian views on gender roles. So literally 1 in 3 women are reporting an increase in unwanted sexual violence, oddly similar to popular porn tropes, and you have no idea where it comes from, just magically occurred to a bunch of men at the same time. Okay, so causation and correlation, my friend. Causation and correlation. Media will mimic real life. Real life will sometimes mimic media. It's a back and forth flow. So if there's one video that features choking that gets really, really popular, because people are watching it, men and women, because not just men are watching porn. Stop pretending it's just men watching porn. And then more videos with choking being featured pops up because this one video got really popular. So people are like, oh, hey, this is doing well. Let's make more of it. And so then there's more people watching it. Like, you see how that is an intertwined situation. Also, they're saying 1 in 3, but their numbers were like, there was only like 413 people that were asked in like a specific area. So that's really not. And yes, it was a quarter of women, not a third. Correct. Again, as linked, research shows the vast majority of porn doesn't depict violence against women. So if I were going to blame media depictions of violence against women, I'd look at mainstream television and movies. Yes, that's actually a really good point. Kathy, bless. This is Kathy. Go check out Kathy. Kathy, be blessed. You make a fantastic point. Absolutely fantastic point. If you're concerned about depictions of gender roles, if you're concerned about depictions of violence, if you're concerned about any of that, mainstream media is the first place you should be looking, because that's going to everybody all over the place. Whereas porn is very much more niche. I'm also going to link this person up here because they were hilarious. Where did it go? Yep. Kate here. There you go. Res Instance says, this is the video games cause violence level of stupid. Yeah, this is not the let's see what else they've been saying, because I know they've been retweeting a lot arguments instead. So let's see their what they're talking about. Oh, they're retweeting this person a lot. Is there a conversation going on? Oh, okay, here we go. A lot of outrage under this tweet goes on about how sex workers do not have control over the content they produce and are obligated to perform these scenarios because those are the ones in demand, and therefore the issue lies with the men financing those images. Okay, well, I didn't see any of that in the top couple comments we looked at, but, you know, maybe it's later down the line. I'm not gonna judge. I would say that it's not that they don't have control over the content. There's a degree of control that you have depending on what job you're doing in sex work. If you are an actor or actress that has been hired by a company, then you have signed off to agree to produce whatever that role is for. So no, you wouldn't have a choice in the content. If you're talking about OnlyFans, then that's entirely individual based, so you're going to have to judge that on an individual basis, and they still would have control over the content they're making. Yeah, there's going to be pressures on the market one way or the other, but you still have final say if you're your own boss sort of situation. So I don't see how that would follow. And who says it's only men financing these things? I don't know. We do not disagree, but why? I disagree, but why is it that you only acknowledge those realities once they're being called out but any other time, most of you would rather curate lies of empowerment and full control over your content and choose to sell fantasy over being honest? Why would anybody want to sell fantasy? I don't know. You want porn to be real? Is this person suggesting that you would only have porn if it was like a monogamous relationship and that couple was filming themselves having sex and then it would be fine? Is that what they're asking for here? We know that sex work is corrosive. Even those who have chosen this path for themselves and are part of the privileged lot admit to doing things they would rather not do, but have to because it's where the money resides. I mean, sometimes if you choose a job, you have days that you end up doing things you don't want to do, but you can have sex you don't want to have, but still consent to it. And that's a complicated. That might be a little bit more nuanced than a lot of people can handle. I can not want to have sex and not be in the mood for it, but consent to having it anyway. So it's still consensual sex because I'm still agreeing to have the sex. it's not that complicated, but I think it might be a little bit more nuanced than people are willing to accept. Helios for 5 said, sexual trends are generational. Every generation learns their sexuality from experimenting with each other and talking. That is also the case. But yet you still can't bear being asked to reflect on the content you produce because of how the widespread nature of these themes in porn are rubbing off negatively on the lives of ordinary people. Aren't most people doing things they'd rather not do, e.g. working in general? I'm curious. Is this person 19 years old? Is this person 19 years old? Okay, I'm going back. We're taking it back. This person was just retweeting them my buttload. Retweeting Dan Price. Dan Price is cool. Okay. At the OnlyFans ladies below, you claim that your work allows you to reclaim your sexuality, that it empowers you, that is no different from any other form of work. Okay, then take responsibility for the product you're creating like we expect every other worker to do. Coercive, sorry, not corrosive. Thank you, you're correct. Exploratory minds. This is just straight conflation. You're talking about sex workers, and now you've adjusted it to OnlyFans ladies specifically, so make up your mind. It's not, if a man, like I'm taking, because this is the direction they're speaking from. If a man decides to utilize his home, like let's say he's married, he's got a family, and they have a joint bank account, and this man decides that he wants to start taking from that joint bank account to start paying for OnlyFans content. And that woman decides to, and it's a woman, let's say it's a woman, and that OnlyFans content creator decides to take the money and do what it is that man is asking them to do. Is it her responsibility for any consequences that man may have to face for his actions because she made the content? Because that's what you're referring to here. Res Instance for 5 says, I like that dark Jeff person. They have their head on straight. Right? What is this? This just seems like a hate-on. OnlyFans star plans to live stream birth for $12,000 and has offered to sell her breast milk. Quote, there is a massive fan base for kinky pregnancy-related content on OnlyFans. Yep. Absolutely. Is nothing sacred. What about... Listen, childbirth is gross. I don't know why you think it's sacred, but hey, if you're into that kind of shit, if you think that men don't joke about breast milk all the time, you are fucking living under a rock somewhere. I've heard that since I was a teenager, and that was yesterday. Men joke about breast milk. Joke about go to a... Oh, we can't. It's Kofefe. Listen, this is something that... This is a thing that dudes joke about all the time. Bunch of degenerates paying thousands to masturbate to the sight of baby coming out of a woman's vagina, fully broadcast on a mainstream site, fully legal and advertised. If you judge this, you are a bigoted kink shamer. Just wait for what's ahead in a few years down the road. So slippery slope fallacy? I'm not into it, so nobody else is allowed to look at it? Listen, if everybody's consenting, I don't see the problem. I don't like it, so you're not allowed to like it. Ick. Ick. How dare you spend your money in a way that I wouldn't think is the way you should spend your money. Although I do enjoy that it's a bunch of degenerates paying thousands. It kind of implies that there's like a bunch of people paying thousands and not just a lot of people paying a little bit that adds up to thousands. This reminds me of the female dating strategy thread from yesterday that are all up in arms about women in these positions do have a responsibility to not satisfy the demand for this kind of content. If they don't want to, they don't have to. If she wants to do it, she can do it. Why the fuck not? Sure, you're gonna make that much money off of it. Yeah, why not? Fuck it. Yeah, this is the stuff we're talking about. Can sex work Twitter let your baby's head crown and not have to be a fat material for perverts? Thanks and God bless. Maybe people are calling you kink shamers because you are. You're judging and shaming people because of what consenting adults decide to do privately. If you don't want it, don't tune into it. Stop watching shit that makes you angry for no reason because you're not interested in it. Doesn't mean that other people aren't interested in it. Oh. I understand that you have poor information about gender and sexuality due to poor education around sex and relationship education, but can you please stop continuing misinformation and maybe go learn some evidence based on RSE and share that with the world instead? Response: you mean we haven't been indoctrinated into whatever nonsense you learned from the Porn Institute for Porn Studies, which is totally never politicized or full of pseudoscience? Oh god, this reads like flat earth content. How the hell is women starting to exploit men like men exploit women a thing to strive for? Let us not normalize prostitution ever. Let us help people get real jobs that does not contain degeneration / abuse and self-harm. We do not want to be men. We want men to be better. Oh no! Res for 5 says, stop describing the thing we're doing. It makes us look bad because we are. Okay, I knew this was gonna be like a dumpster fire, but I didn't realize it was going to get this bad because I didn't read the whole thing before I went and looked. I just saw that I saw a dumpster fire in the distance and it was like, okay, I'm gonna slowly start making my way over there. I'm gonna see how bad it is. And then it just started to smell rancid. Oh no. Oh no. What is any of this? What is any of this? You wanna know why people think you're just mad at sex liberation because you're a bunch of prudes? It's because you're acting like it. Oh my god. Please preach today. Some women will make excuses but get mad when this happens to them. The hypocrisy. The outrage reveals where their loyalties actually lie. SWers have a code of secrecy against other women to protect themselves from men and to protect men from consequences. They're threatened into silence or just to protect their own profits. How is this good for women? Can you please show me where any of this is happening? Yeah, this is a good point. Why is this the sex worker's fault? It's not the sex workers' fault men deceive their partners, but it is a weird flex to pretend sex workers help women or feminists when it relies on a code of secrecy from other women to protect men. Seems like clear conflict of interest. The outrage reveals where your loyalties lie. Dumbass! No! It's not their responsibility. They don't want... What are you supposed to, like, have an interview tell me your life story so I can inform all of the women in your life if you're cheating? It's not about secrecy. They don't know. The only one keeping secrets is the man in the scenario that you made up in your brain. Men or women cheating in relationships are no one else's fault than the ones that are doing the cheating. Fuck off. To those quoting this tweet, it's not your fault men deceive their partners. Yeah, like, you then fucking just pointing, I'm just pointing it out. Listen, what's your solution? Insist that your regular clients disclose to any women in their life. Insist how? How would you enforce that? You can say it, but it's just going to be lip service. It's completely meaningless. It's just, this is absolute garbage. Turquoise says that account totally lost their husbands to sex workers. Maybe. Based on the title of their latest episode, I imagine they've choked on a few... Thank you. These sex workers really out here playing girls, playing into rape fantasies for men and incest. Absolutely no code. I've always said women who imitate girls are only delaying men actually harming them instead of not participating. These women have no morals. Okay, I'm gonna say this one last time, and hopefully maybe somebody will catch on to it. Not only men watch porn. Not only men are interested in rape fantasy. This shit goes every direction. Stop being an idiot. This is a level of dumb. Okay, let's... I think we come to the conclusion that female dating strategy has no idea how to help women and only is interested in a very niche agenda of like the most and it seems very like nuclear family styled stuff. It seems very much not for the empowerment of women, not for the safety or empowerment of men, not for consensual sex. It's very interested in all of the private things that other people are doing in their lives. I think there's value to dating strategies and understanding that women sharing their experiences in dating so that a younger generation of women can be aware of danger and dangerous situation. Letty says PewDiePie just published a video where he reviews that $500 million house. You got ahead of the curve on him. Damn it, PewDiePie! I better get a shout out. I'm kidding. All right, I'm gonna end it here. I'm sure. I'm a nice guy. My platform is open to the Female Dating Strategy podcast. If they would actually like to come on and want to actually discuss, what they were complaining about is, oh, people are just going for tropes. People are just going for tropes. They don't want to discuss anything. Well, I'm here. I will discuss with you. Come on, or I'll come on to your place. We'll talk. We'll have a conversation. We'll see what we can sort out with either statistics or if you want to talk about anything that isn't just you making shit up in your brain. I believe in you. It'll be okay. Res for 10 says, big yikes, I have a show idea. Pseudo-intellectual Tuesday. Warning, may contain content that deletes brain cells, including but not limited to flat earth, incel, femceldom, young earth creationism, etc. I mean, that is kind of what we do. I'm pretty sure people must have lost some brain cells while I was reading through that legal documentation. It's not just Tuesday, though. It's not just Tuesdays. It's just come find me at 2:30 pretty much every day during the week. And this is the stuff I find. This is the nonsense that I go on about. Feel free to like, sub. I mean, they want conversation, so I guess go talk to them if you're interested. If you feel like causing yourself some harm today, I don't know. Tell them to come by here if they're interested. 82, you'll come on their place. I think that's a phrasing problem. Probably to them it would be. I'm so glad I put some Kahlua in my tea. I would love to have the Female Dating Strategy podcast come on with Brittany Simon on Non Sequitur and have a conversation about this, because I think Brittany Simon would be a far better person to have this conversation than I would be. But yeah. This would be a good That Time of the Month episode, too. So, we'll see. We'll see if there's anybody who wants to discuss this. If you do want to discuss this more with me, feel free to join the Discord or the Patreon, or become a member. Well, sorry, become a member or the Patreon. You'll get access to the Discord where we have further conversations for stuff like this. Sometimes in the after show, sometimes an hour or two later. That's usually where you'll find us. Hit boop the button, because, you can't literally smash it. You can only lightly touch it. So give the like button a boop, give the subscribe a boop, become a member. Alerts. Find me here pretty much all week at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Check the store if you're interested in some goblins. And I will see you guys next time. I need to go watch some porn, I guess. I'll see you later. Bye.